All right, welcome everyone to our August monthly community session. I'm Hypno Heather. For those of you that are new to me and new here, welcome. What we do is we go through a topic and then we spend the second half of our hour session today in hypnosis. And welcome to everybody that's not new to the community and or new to these sessions. I know that you'll go deeper every time that you go into hypnosis. So you have so much to look forward to today. And it's always great to see your familiar faces and names and to be here as we co-create something for ourselves and for our world. And as we continue to bring in, uh, a greater sense of peace within ourselves, then we have that possibility and that potential, and just without even having to do anything to bring that into the world. So, welcome. This is our August session. It's August 31st, 2022, the last day of August. And the topic that came up for this month is You Are Enough. And I thought this would be a great topic to explore. We do explore different topics every month. And when I asked the inquiry out to the group the other night about what do you feel is your number one limiting belief, the one that came back the most was being enough or feeling enough or somehow feeling like there are blocks or limiting beliefs that would stop us from feeling as if we are enough. So, this is the topic that we're going to explore. And then we'll dive into the relaxing hypnosis, and I'll give a little bit of an instruction before we do that. So, if you're new to hypnosis, you'll know more what to expect and how easy it is for you to do this. So, when we're getting into this idea of being enough, we're going to come at it today from actually a different perspective than it being this idea of a limiting belief or something that we have to get past, or like we need to feel like we are enough. This idea that we need to feel like we're enough in order to, like, in order to get there, do this, accomplish this, be able to do this. And some of you have heard me speak about this before. Like, is it true because we believe it, or do we believe it because it's true? So if we believe that we have to get beyond a limiting belief, or we have to somehow feel enough or feel confident in order to do something, then we're going to spend all our lives potentially waiting or looking for, or trying to figure out how we get there. Like, if we need to be confident to do something, or we need to be feeling like we're good enough to do something, my guess is it's likely not going to happen. Because it's not necessarily that because we don't feel enough, we can't do it or we're not doing it. But it might be because we think that we have to feel good enough to do something. And I kind of can see sometimes like using confidence synonymously with this in a sense, because it's just another idea of something that we think that we can need before we can do something. Like, and the chat's always open, so you can always chat, throw in a chat if you can relate, or if you have a question, or if something I say is kind of perks your interest. The chat's always there. I love any kind of feedback or just letting me know if it's resonating with you. But this whole idea is really about, it's really about, what do we think that we require to be different in order to be okay? or in order to succeed, or in order to do something. And the space that I'd like to hold for us in this conversation today is the space of the inquiry of, what if you were already enough? What if there was a space that you could go to within that is enough? And what if there's a part of you that's you're born with, that you are, that's connected to everyone else, that just holds the knowing that as you are, what you're doing, what you don't do, anything is enough. And yeah, you can chat me direct message, so it's private, or you can chat me excuse me, to everyone. So whatever you like. And any feedback or any questions, I can just ask anonymously too, or answer anonymously. And feeling into this inquiry of this idea, like, just what if there was a place within, or what if there was just the possibility of being enough? Like, what if there was the possibility of being enough right now? Like, without having to do anything, change anything, buy anything, eat anything, stop eating anything, know anything, look any differently, think any differently, act any differently, react any differently, have different emotions, have different people around you, have a different job, live in a different city, have different clothes. We could go on and on and on. We could think of like a multitude of everything and things that we might think, if we had this, then I would be worthy, or then, right? Sometimes these examples come up in our culture, like, here's one that's a real popular one, like, I have to love myself before I can love someone else. This is an example of like not being enough culture. This is particularly in the self-help industry, which is my industry, but this was a fun example because, of course, the more that we love ourselves, like, the more capable we are of unconditional love. But if we have to love ourselves before we can love someone else, this sounds made up. Like, obviously, like, I love my son whether I love myself or not. And even, what does it even mean to love yourself? There's so many layers to loving yourself. And loving yourself is a total process. So if you have to love yourself to do anything, you're screwed. This is like what I'm really talking about on the surface. As we get deeper into this conversation, and as we get deeper into the hypnosis, we'll explore more of the capacity that we all hold within us, and the connection to our innate wisdom and our beingness, to feeling the fullness of how enough we are. That's where we're going. We're starting with a little bit of intellectual stimulation here, and just getting your mind warmed up and open a bit, like this idea that if you have to be something in order to, if you have to be different than you are in order to, this is more a sign of faulty thinking than it is of reality. Because it's just thinking that we picked up along the way, that we learned from our authorities and people when we were younger, that we learned from society, because it's much easier to market to people if they think they're lacking something, so that they buy something, they do something, they purchase something because they feel like they need it in order to. And so this is all part of our programming. So there's no judgment. We've all been there. And some of these things ring true, like this idea that if I had more confidence, I would. But what if you just did it without confidence? And this is something I really learned being a hypnotist for so long and having thousands of people come to me and say, help me have more confidence, help me lose weight, help me not feel um, this feeling, help me not think this thought, help me not be, help me do this so I can look differently, or do this so I can look better, or help me have more motivation. And while all those things are okay, we do have choice. We can choose to exercise so our body looks better. We can choose anything that we want. But where it becomes faulty is in the thinking that we have to do that in order to feel enough, in order to feel worthy, in order to feel good, or in order to do something that we want to do. Confidence is probably the biggest one. I would say almost everyone asks for more confidence. And I started to see through this idea of confidence, because I think it's made up in a sense. Like, I started to think, and as I started to break it down, especially when working in the mind of people, but what is the point of this confidence? Like, what would this confidence really look like? And mostly from what I could tell is that generally we want to feel more comfortable doing things that are uncomfortable because we're not good at them or we haven't done them very often. So that's kind of this idea, having confidence would be like kind of feeling more comfortable to do something that we're not comfortable doing. So then I would always question, but do you want more confidence, or do you want to just feel more comfortable doing something that's uncomfortable? And then if you want to feel more comfortable, can you get to feeling comfortable with something without feeling uncomfortable first? I don't think that's possible. And so then it's awesome, because then we don't have to work on confidence. We don't even have to try to have confidence. We just have to become more comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's just living life and doing stuff and being uncomfortable. So it frees us up a lot when we can start to expand our thinking to beyond this, I need this in order to thinking. Let's think of another example. Feel free to throw me anything in the chat and I'll make an example of it. Like, if you need to lose weight to wear some clothes that you like, or to go do something that you want to do, go to the beach. This is very common. I've had a lot of people say, please help me lose weight for this wedding, which is fine. The goal is fine. But what happens is, and what I also learned from working so much with people in this space, is that oftentimes in the past they had lost the weight and they did weigh less and they still didn't feel good about themselves. And they still didn't feel happy. And they still didn't feel like they could wear the clothes or go to the beach or do the thing. So again, what we're looking at today is more like, how many things am I thinking that I have to do in order to? Because that also creates overwhelm, right? Because then all of a sudden, if we have to be great at something when we're starting doing it, then we're thinking, oh, I have to learn from someone who's good at this. And then that gets put off because there's more resistance, or like, I have to lose weight in order to do this. And then I want to do this, but then this whole process of having to lose weight is actually long and takes time. And so just forget it. And so it actually does stop us from doing things that we want to do, because it creates resistance. Because then all of a sudden we have to be smarter, prettier, more organized, more focused, more confident, more lovable, more nice, more people pleasing, more all these things. Like, then all of a sudden we have to be all these things before we can do something. And this is very overwhelming, because that would involve having to change a lot of who we are right away so that we could be ready to. or in order to. So I hope this you can kind of see what I'm getting at. And you might have your own ideas of something that you have to be better at, even be better at accomplishing or changing in order to. So I like this topic because this is often also a topic of like, in order to be worthy of my own love. Like I have to be better to love, to be able to love myself, never mind getting love or being worthy of just being loved. Like, and this always brings me back to like a baby and how we never would say to a baby, like, you're not worthy of love because you don't even know how to walk yet, baby. Like, you don't know how to do anything. You're not worthy. I'm not going to love you. You know, you don't know how to do anything. And in fact, even when you started walking, you didn't do it very well. Right? I know this sounds silly when you think of it to a baby, but like this is how we are to ourselves. And we're learning to walk all the time. We're having to learn how to do things all the time that no one ever taught us. And we don't know how to do no matter how old we are. If we didn't learn something growing up, or we didn't learn something from someone else, or we didn't learn something from our own experiences of life, and even if we tried to, we didn't learn it. We didn't learn it. And then we're just hard on ourselves. Like just let that come to mind. If you were a baby and like we would say you're not worthy of being, you're not worthy of love, or you're not worthy of food. You're not worthy of like abundance or love or life or anything because you're not doing good enough. And then bring it back to ourselves or even to those that we love. Right? Like even to those in our lives. Like I think that the expectation that we think we should be good at life and good at things in life that we're not good at is set way too high. And then it gets in the way of us actually being able to have a space, like to feel into the innate goodness that we are, into the love that is available to us if we're just okay as we are. As I was messaging with some of you in the community about this, I liked how when I did ask some questions, it was starting to unravel a bit, because we can just have it so set in our minds, like I have to accept myself, I have to have confidence, I have to be good enough, I have to love myself, I have to do all of this so that I can accept myself, like so that I can love myself, and then so I can have love. And this is where sometimes self-improvement can be harmful, because if we always feel like we have to improve, that is not fun. That doesn't feel like an easy life. That doesn't feel like we give ourselves any breaks. And that doesn't feel like really everything we came to do here. In the chat, it says, that makes a lot of sense. I've missed out on so much joy in my life because I didn't feel like I was pretty enough, skinny enough, good enough at it, and hard time being in the uncomfortable. Yeah. Like how much time have we already spent thinking that we're not enough? So my thing is that, and plus with the 3 principles understanding that I coach in, which I bring to everything that I do because it's my grounding. but I don't always talk about the three principles, which are mind and thought and consciousness. And there's going to be more sessions coming up around the three principles. And for everyone that joins the September Weight Wellbeing group, there's going to be a bonus session on the three principles and the exploration of the three principles. But with the three principles grounding, the whole idea is that you are enough. The whole idea is that when we stop trying so hard, we get more access to our innate. I wonder if I can hypnotize this fly. Sleep. Had the door open today. It was such a nice day. But now it's like the only lights in the house. So a couple dogs did get a little hypnotized today. So the three principles understanding is really partly in this knowing that you're good. Your innate self is well-being and health and being enough. And just start to imagine, and we'll do this in hypnosis too, but just imagine for a moment what that would look like. Like if you just went through life with this like grounding, this like deeper knowing that you're good. No, you're not perfect. And yeah, your body's going to do a bunch of stuff to show you what it needs to take care of it. And then you're going to have like relationships that bring shit up and like make you feel certain ways. And then you're going to have this dropped on you. And then you'll get snowed in, and then your car breaks down. And then, someone you love dies. Like all this stuff is going to happen. And so it's not about at all perfectly handling anything. But what if you could walk through life with like a knowing that you're good? Your body's always moving towards health. You don't have to try so hard. You don't have to try to improve so much. You don't have to remove all these blocks that you have. You can choose to do something or not, or if you just don't want to be uncomfortable in that situation, you just don't do it. And that's okay too. And then sometimes you might just decide to be uncomfortable. This is part of it. Being willing to just be with yourself as you are. What if it's okay if you're angry? What if it's okay if you're mad? What if it's okay you just don't like it when people promise you shit and don't do it? What if it's okay if things bother you or irritate you? It's just once you realize that it might be a lot to do with stories that you're telling yourself in your head because you don't know that everyone is enough. You don't know that you're good. You don't know everyone's good. So your mind might be used to creating stories that blame yourself or things around you for your discomfort. So you might have to face just your own mind a little bit, like question your thinking. Because if we're blaming anyone, or if we're blaming any circumstance for how we feel, we're going to be off. We're going to be off. Like that right away. If your mind's going into blaming someone for how you feel, or yourself for how you feel, or the environment, or the politicians, or the world, if you're blaming anything for how you feel, you're probably off base. But that's okay too. That's okay if something makes you mad. Just knowing that that's your human experience, that you're feeling mad about that thing doesn't make it true. So I'm not going to go too much more into that because I know that's potentially a lot of unraveling. And the main idea is that's a great point, Crystal. Like the self-improvement can be so overwhelming that we forget we are okay just as we are. Because we went from marketing, just being marketed to buy stuff mostly, to being marketed to have to self-improve. And there's an uneasiness that sometimes is fed with marketing, like you're not enough and you're not good. And like, you could be here if you would just do this. And then it starts to create this like imaginary reality that's very different than manifesting or like imagining what you'd like to create or your intention, because it creates some sort of reality, like it creates some sort of imaginary reality that like, if you were better at this, if you could do this, you could get to here. Because someone probably said, this is really big in the self-help industry, right? Like, if you do this, you'll get here. And then people come to me as a hypnotist and say, I did this. I spent 20 grand on this program and I followed all their steps and I never got there. And I'm like, of course you didn't. That was never there for you to get. It was never there for you to follow someone else's steps to success and get there. Especially if it didn't work on anything here or here. Like if it didn't go in here or here or here, of course not. Because then it's just trying to create from planning and thinking and trying to improve. Whereas everything that we're experiencing and therefore creating is an internal experience. We did one session and then he got a bunch of clients because I could just see he learned this $20,000 way to get clients and didn't get any clients. But I could just see that it was inner conflict, like his desire wasn't connecting to his desire. And so that's when effort is just trash. If we're putting effort into something and it's not aligned and we're trying to do it because from a place of lack, like we're not enough, or we need to do this to be okay, it probably doesn't work. So I'm just here to try to make it easier for you. This is really why I'm here, because I like to talk about things that I wish I knew a long time ago. I saw someone, I think they do a YouTube channel that says like what I would tell my teenage self. And I love this because this is what I would tell my teenage self. Like, stop trying so hard. This is what I would tell my 44-year-old self last year. No, wait, this is what I would tell my 45-year-old self yesterday. Like, what are we doing? Can't we just be good as we are? And then if we want to learn something, cool. If we want to eat differently to feel better or lighter or healthier, cool. Like, we can still do these things. We have choice. But are we choosing them because we think we have to do them to be okay, to be enough, to be loved? Imagine thinking you couldn't love someone unless you fully love yourself. That's insane. Who fully loves themselves? Come on. We're capable of so much more. And so that's my suggestion or like kernel for you. And I'll send this out in the message just for you to have in the community, which is just start to question your thinking. If you kind of just start to notice if your mind's kind of going in some direction where you're thinking that something's wrong with you, or you're not okay, or because you're not good at something, that there's something wrong with you. And because this also brings us into comparison, and comparison is just so bad for our souls and our hearts and our minds. Like, it's so bad. And I'm sure these like the example in the chat which is like usually we felt that sort of way, especially about our bodies in comparison to other people. And we live in a world of comparison right now because of social media. We can literally go on social media any moment and find people doing shit better than we are. You know, or at least looking like they're doing it better, which tricks our mind because then our mind thinks that they are doing better. And I can tell you from doing this work for 11 years now, as of this month, that behind all that, everyone is going through stuff and human. The most together people that have been in my office over the years are struggling. And so that's my inquiry for you. And I'll remind you after the session. And then after the hypnosis, I also have just 2 more things to share with you really quickly. And then we'll wrap up for the night. So those of you who are new, well, actually, those of you who are not new, go ahead, get yourself situated. Those of you that are new, what we do here is everyone just like finds a place to lay down if you're not already laying down, reclining, relaxing, just anywhere that you can chill. And we'll get started into the hypnosis portion of our evening. So take your moment. I will take mine. Okay, so as we're getting started for this hypnosis and you're getting settled in, you can close your eyes, start by taking a few nice deep breaths right from the beginning, knowing that every breath sends that relaxation into your body, into every cell, every muscle, every fiber of your being. If you're new to hypnosis, know that there's nothing that you need to do or try or remember or listen to. Your subconscious mind is always listening. You can't do this wrong. It's not so much like a going in hypnosis and out. It's a more like in and out, in and out, in and out. So sometimes you might hear my voice the whole time, or you might drift off. However you experience this is perfect. And you can have thoughts. You're going to have thoughts. In fact, your conscious mind exists. And so just knowing that every time that you do hypnosis, you go deeper. And right now, taking a deep breath and release. Going deeper and deeper relaxed. Knowing that right from the beginning, every breath that you take, every sound that you hear, plus the sound of my voice, will continue to take you deeper, relaxed. The deeper you go, the better you feel. The better you feel, the deeper you go. Sometimes people do like to imagine a wave of relaxation flowing from the top of your head all the way down to the tips of your toes. And every breath sends another wave and another wave of relaxation. Going deeper now. Taking that moment to focus on your eyelids. Let your eyelids be nice and heavy, nice and relaxed, nice and comfortably stuck shut. So you notice that the more that you try to open them, the more that they just keep sticking closed. And notice how even if you try to open them, they just keep sticking closed. And you just stop trying. Send that relaxation, that hypnosis from your eyelids now down into your entire body. If they did open, no problem. Just close them, go deeper, relaxed. In fact, a way that we use deepening in hypnosis is to open and close the eyes. So in a moment, I'm going to get you to open and close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, you'll go deeper, relaxed, maybe even doubling your relaxation. So eyes open and down, deeper, relaxed. Now, eyes open and down, deeper, relaxed now. And one more time, eyes open and down, deeper, relax, letting that wave roll through you. Let it go into your jaw, relax your jaw, let it go into all the tiny muscles in your face. The muscles in your face relaxing, and feel this idea right away, this idea of doing nothing. There's nothing to listen to, there's nothing to remember, there's nothing to figure out. And just imagine there's no thing to move in your body. There's just nothing to do. Yeah, how good, even in this moment, you could get it doing nothing. Just resting, listening to the sound of my voice, knowing that the more you listen to my voice, the deeper you go, the deeper you go, the more you listen to my voice. The more you listen to my voice, the deeper you go, the deeper you go, the more you listen to my voice. And my voice will always be here with you. My voice will be with you no matter how deeply relaxed you become. And the things that I say to you, to your receptive subconscious self that are right for you, will just be absorbed, will be taken in and used to create a new grounding, a new mental blueprint, a new space where you can be you at ease, feeling better, feeling more relaxed, feeling more present, feeling more capable, feeling more able. And so you go deeper still, deeper now. Now, in hypnosis and going deeper in hypnosis, we always like to make something disappear. So imagining yourself at some type of waterfront, as long as you got a nice wave and some sand where you could build a sand castle or write your name in the sand, put something in the sand now. In a moment, we'll let the water wash it away, but for now, just leave it there, where the water isn't quite touching, but you know, just like a sandcastle, the water is going to wash it away. And imagine that the water is bringing in calm and out tension. This is where you let go of your whole day. Calm in, tension out. Calm in. This is where you let go of your whole week. Tension out. Calm in. Tension out. And then, this is where you let go of your whole month, your whole year, your whole past. Calm in. Tension out. In and out. Seeing how good you can get at doing nothing. melting, softening, sighing. And then using your imagination, and imagine the water coming in and completely washing your name or your sandcastle or whatever you put in the sand away. Let it wash away completely. And once it's completely gone, go deeper, relax, going deeper, relax. With each number I count down now, 10. Deeper, relaxed. 9. 8. Deeper and deeper. 7. 6. 5. That's it. 4. And as you keep going, this idea down or deeper down, imagine starting to connect with, or just pretending to connect with, something within you. A space, a feeling, a knowing, a being, a spirit, a soul, a heart, a divine energy, universal. However you could perceive it or start to interpret it. But just this idea of a space, a feeling, an energy where you are whole as you are whole. And keep softening. 4. 3. 2. And 1. Be there. Start to feel into the possibility of your wholeness, this enoughness. What if, just as you are, right here, right now, is enough? What if there's nothing else you have to be? Nothing else you have to prove? Nothing that you have to do in order to be unbroken, in order to be whole, in order to be well, in order to be okay with yourself and others in your mind? What if there's a place that you could kind of sink into, an idea, an energy, even just pretending for now that it might exist, that there might be a spot that you could kind of get into and go, oh, I'm enough. I'm okay. Oh, I really got caught up in that programming. Oh, feel yourself relax. Feel yourself relax into yourself. Feel yourself let go of all the pressure and the burdens that you put on yourself and others. Right? Because if you know, you start to know that you're enough and you have access to your wisdom to guide you through everything, then you start to know that they're enough and they have access to everything to guide them. And then you get to worry less, you get to fear less, you get to stress less, you get to relax more, you get to be nicer to yourself, you get to be nicer to them, you get to be more free, you get to think less, do less, try less, breathe more, be more, feel more. And the more okay that you know you are without having to do anything, the more you'll do. The more you'll want to do. Not because you have to, but because you choose to. I'm going to, in a moment, count down slowly from 5 to 1 to give your subconscious mind, your inner mind, your higher being, an opportunity to shed, just to let go, just to unravel, open up, soften, release anything that you picked up along the way that might have convinced you that you're broken or you're not enough or something's wrong with you or you're not worthy, etc. There's nothing for you to do here. If you want, if you like to use visualization, you can imagine this washing away or burning away, but knowing that with every number I count down, it shall be released from your highest good, for your highest good, from your highest being. Go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe. Let it go. It's okay. We didn't know. You didn't know. Seemed like the right thing to do. To change. And it's okay to want to be better and improve and feel better. All of that's okay. But see if you can come from a place of knowing, or even just start to imagine there is a place of knowing where you are well, you are whole, you are complete, you are good enough, you are enough, you are lovable, you are worthy, you are enough, you were born enough, and shall you always be enough. You are enough. And there's nothing that you have to do to be enough, to be capable, to be loving, to be loved, to be worthy. You're human. You will do things, you will feel things, you will make a mess of things, you will be in messy things. You are human. You are not perfect, nor will you ever be, nor do you ever have to be. You are enough. You are enough. You are enough. If you like this idea, you can bring it into yourself, the light, a nest, a home, a space, a light, an energy, a color, a globe, a sphere, a ball, an aura. Bring it into yourself, this idea of like coming home, this idea of softening into a place within you, an energy, a feeling, a space, a globe, a color, a light. And feel as is now enough. Take a moment there now and create your inner space, your home, your energy, your love. It feels good. Take a nice deep breath and sigh it out. Let it go. Shake it off. Smile. Laugh. Oh, even laugh at the ridiculousness that is life and the way that we get caught up in it. Sheesh. So, breathe. Breathe. Feel the space that you've created for yourself tonight and thank yourself for taking the time for yourself to have this moment and to connect with how awesome and enough you are as you are, not having to do anything different no matter what anyone says. Give yourself a little pat on the back. You're good. You're gonna be good, and even when you're not good, you're still good. So in a moment, I'll count to 3, and at 3, you'll be back in the room, eyes open. You can come back and share your experience or your thoughts in the chat, and I'll give you a couple of reminders, and then we'll break for the night. So 1, taking that moment to just start to come back to the room. 2, letting your eyes open and just maybe move your body or stretch your body a bit, right? And 3, refreshed, rejuvenated, relaxed, knowing that you're going to have the best sleep. You're going to sleep wonderfully. You're going to wake up tomorrow refreshed and be like, I am enough. Let's see what this day brings, because why not? So welcome back. Feel free to come back, put on your camera or not put on your camera. I love any comments, experiences in the chat. If you do experience anything coming up as a result of this session, you can always message me privately in the group as well, because oftentimes I can just say something that will help it to move on and release. And if you do ever, if any emotions came up or come up, that's great. Emotions are always great. We love when emotions come up, because it's better for them to come up and to be released than for us to keep them in. So emotions are always a good sign. And and so this is where we're at. Welcome again. And I Would love to hear anything. If you want to share anything in the chat as you're kind of coming back. I love seeing faces out of hypnosis, that rejuvenation. And I loved where we went tonight. Like, this was just meant for us. I went there with you. I was with you. And I felt really deeply that I even had this like, my heart just did something, center of my chest, and how lovely we could gather our energies together and put this energy into just being enough. And feel free to share anything with me even after. I just have two quick announcements to make, and then we'll wrap up. And remember, just feel free to share anything. So we're on week 3 of the first 4-week Weight Wellbeing series, and it's been going so awesome that I am going to open up few more spots for people that want to come in for the September 4 weeks. I'm just going to put the link in the chat. I'm not going to chat too much about it now because I'll send out more information as time goes on. But I will send you guys the link with the discount because you're in this community. So you automatically get like the $53 off or whatever it is. Copy. And so what this is, for those of you that are new here, it's the Be Lighter Weight Wellbeing group. And so we do this, which is like a discussion and then a hypnosis for 4 weeks. We just finished week 3 on the first 4 weeks. So we did body. So it's actually week 1 is mind, which is mind and universal mind. Week 2 is emotions, which is feel to heal, and then about food. And then week 3 is body and the physical reality. And then I'll send that link. And then week 4 is the integration of the whole. So we're really coming at like food and eating and weight health from the emotional, psychological, and spiritual. And we do this. I have a topic every week, and then I do hypnosis every week. And then we also have a WhatsApp group where it's just so fun and everyone's sharing. Everyone who wants to share is sharing. So I am going to open that up. The second group starts September 15th. I'll send this out in the community as well, so you don't have to remember anything right now. Just know that there's already I think 10 people in it or something. So I'll open up a few more spots and I'll give you guys this discount. So that link is in the chat. And if you want more information, I also have a full document about it. But all you have to know is like, this is the best group I ever had over all these 11 years, like just because of where I'm at and then having done all that cleansing like forever, but especially this last year. And just the stuff that we're learning and leaving behind and transcending has been so fun. So that's why I just opened it up more, because I think more people could just be enjoying this with us. So please inquire or join if that calls you. And then the other thing is, I know some of you here have already been trained by me or are trained hypnotherapists, but I also do have my signature training course, Hypnosis Essentials, which starts on October 8th, and it's a live and online training. I'll put the link in there too, so you can see it if you want. And I'll also send out these links to the community. Oh, there it is. I'll send out these links. This is really for for somebody who wants to delve more into this world and either learn it for themselves or to help others or loved ones, or if you're already working with people and you're not able, like they're not able to really kind of go beyond the grounding or the I want to say programming, but I want to say more than programming, because when I teach hypnosis, I really teach way beyond this idea of programming or programming the mind, because it's not really about that. It's like, yeah, you'll learn how to change neural pathways and how to help people create new mental blueprints, but that's just like the shallowest aspect of hypnosis. As we can tell here, we really work with like this idea of the whole being. And when someone is in a more relaxed space, and when we can guide them in that space, we're really helping them tune into the wisdom of themselves. And if we take the idea of hypnosis and this idea of working in the subconscious mind, which I also think of as superconscious mind, which is part of the curriculum, but that's where everything's stored. So we don't have to, like if someone came to me today and they keep having these dreams, and consciously we can't tell them, well, tell your mind to stop having those dreams. Those dreams are there as information. So with her in hypnosis today, we got to explore if the dreams had any message for her, if there's anything that they're there to tell her before I take them away, basically. And then we can use hypnosis to help release the dream. So that's one example. Anxiety is another huge example, because anxiety isn't something that you can think yourself out of. And especially if you're being triggered or having triggers. So basically my course is set up that you learn what is hypnosis, you learn the understanding of the mind, then you learn how to hypnotize someone, how to know how deep they are, how to deepen them, how to get them deep enough to do certain work and know what work you can do at what depth. Then you learn techniques and processes, not just scripts, or like you don't just say positive things to the mind to help it change. You use processes and techniques to guide them through feeling into things, imagining things, seeing things change, seeing things different in order to change, to create the freedom, or to let go of the anxiety or the panic or the guard around their heart, because they learned how to be guarded to protect themselves when they got hurt before. So again, we're not coming from this place of being unwhole. We're just using the state of the relaxed state, the ego-less state of hypnosis to help people feel into discomfort that they've been avoiding, and maybe even just unconsciously. Because if we got hurt in some way before, as soon as that's potentially happening again, right? Our unconsciously, we're just like, no, get out of there. And this is also why it's sometimes hard to feel into that space within, because we've learned to protect ourselves, and then we end up just protecting ourselves from life's experiences and the love that we could have. So that's like the deeper theory of my training course, but it is a certification course that you do get certified with an international board, as well as HypnoHeather. And it's live and online, so you get all the video on demand, so you can watch it as much as you want. But then I go live 3 hours a week, and then we do demos, you practice on each other. One of the things that is unique about my training is that the amount of practice that you get with each other. Because my goal has always been, even though I was told otherwise by many mentors, to not have people like not focus on the students growing and like healing, just teaching them the techniques, but I'm the opposite. Like me taking my training and healing from my training changed my life. And how do you not heal when you're getting hypnosis every week and you're in this space every week? Like how? I don't even know how to do that. I don't even understand that, actually. Because we're just like, I do demos, plus you get hypnosis from me because I'll do demos, and then I deepen the theory that are in the videos that are all me too, and like it's all my content of what I know is the traditional and the classical and the foundation, but also the expansive and the 5D, where we're going so beyond this idea even of the subconscious mind. So that's it in a nutshell. The doors are open. There's still early bird right now. There's 6-month payment plans. I'm going to be doing some webinars around it. I'm going to be doing lives in the conscious hypnosis community on Facebook with past students of mine. So if that interests you, I'm going to find this actually right now for you guys because you're still here and we're having a great chat. So there is a community on Facebook that's the conscious hypnosis community. I'll put it in the chat, and then I will send you guys links in this text messaging community. So this is the conscious hypnosis community. I'm going to be basically going live from Hypno Heather to the conscious hypnosis community with different students of mine from the past. And then they're going to talk about what they're doing. It's just amazing to see. And some of you are here, right here, right now. And it's always amazing to see what's possible, even right from the go, like right from certification. I also am one of the only courses that offers a practicum, actually, that has a mandatory practicum because the Hypno Heather reputation is such that we want the quality of students coming out of this training. And so there is a 10-session practicum where you do 10 sessions to get your certification. And this is really so that people don't need confidence. This is so that you know right away that what you learned in the course works, because you do these 10 sessions and you see that it works and you see that you don't have to be great at it. You see that you can read what I gave you. You can follow my 7-step plan of what to do in every session, and it works. I'm sure Crystal or Kathy would agree with you. And so it's super exciting. It's a first. I've only been opening this training once a year, and it is open right now. I am here if you have any questions. I also do consults. Basically, the lives are on Fridays. And yeah, I'm not sure anything else I could tell you except that if you have been looking for something as a way to potentially supplement your income, if you're feeling like you want to have more of a purpose-driven work and help others, if you have loved ones that are struggling, especially with depression or anxiety or, nervous habits or emotional issues or even psychological issues. I've had a lot of psychologists take this course because they're looking for a modality. They're looking for a way to help resolve root cause. If you're wanting some real time to evolve personally and expand your understanding of your mind and your thinking and how it works, and then it's possibly for you. And for me, I know whoever ends up there is just absolutely meant to end up there. So there's no pressure, and there's going to be a lot of opportunities coming up to learn more. And of course, there will always be this free monthly session. So to everyone that's still here, thanks for sticking around and thank you for coming. And I hope that you had whatever you got from this for yourself. And it'll be interesting for us to go forward and feel more into our enoughness. And I love holding this space. I love holding the space in the class for this too, because when we can get to that place in ourselves, or even just start to see it or believe it, well, then we're so much help to others too. So I'm going to say goodnight and thank you. And I'll send out some information in the chat. I'll do it tomorrow just to not send such a late. No, actually, I'll send the links tonight, just right away after. And then the replay I'll send tomorrow. So thank you and good night.